Right, I just want to start this video off by saying, if would it be possible to completely inject this result right in my veins, right into my veins. This is the best. This is the best game of football I've watched in a long time, and long may Liverpool's demise continue. But yeah, before we get into the crux of the game, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah, man. It's not. We ain't even played the Arsenal game, and I gotta say, I'm absolutely over the moon. I spent the game in a Don Hassam stream. Yeah, man, I had a very good time, man. It was honestly a very good time. But I just want to talk about a few things. This isn't going to be the longest video ever. I just want to talk about a few things. This was potentially one of the funniest games I've ever watched because I watched a lot of emotions fill Liverpool fans. I think before, like at 0-0, I'd say most Liverpool fans were quite happy with how the game was going. A lot of them were happy with the lineup, the formation. I saw a lot of you, including Hassam, like everyone was happy with the lineup. Like, let's not do that. People were saying he's finally set us up the way we need to be set up. It's like up top, all this good stuff. Like, that's what people were saying. So I think for people, like, people make sure if you're turning on them, it's for the right reasons. Like, some of the subs were crazy, but like for me, at the back, they've put Szoboszlai back at right back, and I think that is one of the bigger issues that they've made, which is when Szoboszlai is out of that midfield is free money, man. Like a midfield of McAllister, Gravenberch, and Curtis Jones is soft as shit. And then if you look up front, Isak, Gakpo, Salah, soft as shit. Kirkez, soft as shit. There's a lot of things in this team now that are soft as shit, and traditional Liverpool are the opposite of soft as shit. They have, if you compare this team to prime Liverpool, like the Mane, Salah, Firmino, Hendo, Wijnaldum, Fabinho, like their best team, they've probably lost about 30 kilometers of what's the word I'm looking for? Of purposeful running. That is the way I'll put it. They probably lost about 30 kilometers of purposeful running from when they have the ball, the off-ball movement, from when they don't have the ball, the pressing, the urgency to get back and get together, get tight and press people and close down space. Like, that purposeful running is absolutely cooked in this team. And even some of the decisions they're making, like they went to this weird, they took Konate off and put Ekitike on when I think it was at 2-0 down. Like, another thing is all coming out and conceding straight away. Like, that's probably the worst time. That's probably the worst time to concede because let's say, for example, you've gone in 1-0 down. You've gone in, you might have come out of halftime maybe with a bit of a kick up the arse, a bit of inspiration, and you've conceded immediately. So now everything you've just done at halftime is now gone to waste, and now you're back in the heat of the moment that you was in the first half. So like from that moment, I knew they were cooked. Like, they were absolutely cooked. Every single time Nottingham Forest went forward, like, Gibbs White was in all sorts of space. That gap between their centre-backs and their midfield is gigantic. And I think that's because they have no natural DM. They have no natural protector. And I know Gravenberch is supposed to be that, but they have no guy whose natural thought is to get closer to the centre-backs. And when the other team is playing with a 10, he's just going to be sitting in acres of space. And I was just watching the game thinking, like, why is everything so free? Even the last goal where Robertson gets absolutely chefed and then the goalie decides to, their world-class, unbelievable goalie, Alisson, palms it into the middle of the box and then Gibbs White finishes. I just think, like, even when they sub these guys on, like, let's look at what they've got, right? So they've subbed off Kirkes, they brought in Robertson, he got chef too. Just took off Konate for Ekitike and then created this weird little back three where, like, I saw like Gravenberch in there, like. So then I think he tried to put Szoboszlai back in midfield. Like, it just looks like a lot of decisions of a guy that ain't got. He honestly ain't got a clue as to what would make this team work. That's what it comes across like to me. Like, he genuinely ain't got a Scooby. You don't know what day it is, and like there's every decision he made. I just genuinely think, why are you doing that? Because every time you've taken Szoboszlai out of the midfield, this same thing has happened. And for you to concede 3 goals to a team who are bottom 2 teams in the Prem for goals scored, to me, and the manager Sean Dyche, something has gone terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. And this game, you can't blame Mo Salah because he was actually okay. Works went on the pitch. So where do you go now? Where do you go now? You could are you gonna single out Van Dijk? I know like Slots dragged Konate and to try and be like, oh, Konate's having but I don't know about that. And I think collectively, when the collective stinks this bad, you gotta look in a direction. And it can't really, you can't get rid of all the players. You can't get rid of all the players. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to kick my man out. Like for me, when you get to this point where it's like, what the hell is happening? Like you gotta go. Like I don't see the direction. I don't see the plan. I don't see the style of play. I don't see the fullback. Like you've gone and bought Kirkes, who was like one of the best overlapping fullbacks in the league last year, and he doesn't go forward at all. There's not one overlap ever. So then, like, what's the point? Like, don't get me wrong. I do think the squad is heavily imbalanced, but at the same time, you got to try and get the best out of the players that you have and try and put them in what they're really good at. And right, like you just put Kirkes in a back three. You just put a guy that's bad at defending and is soft as shit in a back three, and he ain't over. I'm not seeing him overlap at any point. So like, for me, it's just like, what's the plan here, buddy? Like, what are you trying to achieve here? But yeah, man, I genuinely think Liverpool is going to be a dark year for you, and I don't see top four unless you get rid of this guy immediately, and the guy that comes in is just a passion merchant and get something that we ain't seen from some of these players. Like he gets an energy from some of these men that we just ain't seen. But the main issue Liverpool are gonna have is they've got a bunch of players they just invested heavily in, and they got to be on the pitch. They got to be on the pitch. I spoke about this before, but like one of the main differences is that purposeful running, man. They've got a lot of boys now that want it to feet, and Salah isn't the type of Salah doesn't work best when everybody wants to feed. He needs runs in behind. Like, don't get me wrong. And also, he's aging. He's not going to pass it and make 1,000 runs. He's not going to do that anymore. So you've got an old right winger who now needs to slightly change his game, and you want to put more energy around him. And then what you've done is you've gone and sucked the energy out of the team and put people with less energy in it. So it's like, I don't really know what the fix is. So I genuinely think they've killed this year with the decisions they've made in the transfer market. I've said that in other videos anyway. But yeah, man, if you see this video, Hassan, I just wanted to say inject it in my veins, and your unhappiness fuels me. It really does. It really makes my day. I'm watching your stream. You do fantastic numbers. You know what it is? I've always said, this is strictly to Hassan. I want you to do well in life. And that stream went really, really well. But your team is in hell. And that, for me, is a perfect scenario, man. I want you to do well in life, but not with Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, man, if you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Helps the channel a lot. I'll see you boys for the Arsenal game. And I expect to be back here smiling, man. Because we're going to pack Spurs in. But yeah, boys, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.